All right, so this one's going to be on transportation. So what modes of transportation are available to you? How do you use them? Are any of them better than the other? So first thing, the initial mode of transportation that you will get if you're living in like big cities, or actually if you just want to travel around Japan, you can do this, are buses. You can take express buses, which will take you from city to city to city. And then within your cities and within your areas, you have buses that run their certain clock. And these are everywhere. So it's not like if you're out in the boonies, they don't work. Even me in my little small town that has almost nobody, they have a bus that goes around to everything and that can take you into town to some of the different places. The difference is in the city, their frequency is much higher because they have way more people to deal with. For me, the buses only run like every hour or so to where I'm at. So it all depends on where you're at. The second one will be trains. Once again, if you're in a city, the trains will be your main mode of transportation. Mainly because owning a car is kind of expensive. Having a parking spot, you also have to pay for parking spots in the city, so that gets expensive and different things. So if you live in a big city like, the easiest example is Tokyo, then owning a car isn't really beneficial to you. Some people it is, but for the most part, you can just take trains and get by just fine. You just gotta pay each time you do it. So depending on how far you travel, depends on how much you pay. But the cool thing is you can get this thing called a Suica card or a Passmo. And with your Suica card or your Passmo card, all you gotta do is walk up and swipe it. And once you swipe it, boom, the money is taken directly off the card and you can do it. So this is a Passmo card, this is what I have. All you have to do is walk up, boop, and then it takes the money already on there and you can reload it over and over again. You can reload up to $100 at a time. So you can just do that and you can work out like your weekly schedule and just put what you're going to use for that week, or you can just load it up and keep going until it gets low and then boom, get it again. But these cards are fantastic. There's also another thing you can get if you're just visiting in Japan. It's kind of like a foreigner train pass, and basically you pay a flat fee and you get like X amount of time to use it, and you just swipe it and it goes, and you don't run out of it until like the day that it's supposed to go out. So you can get almost unlimited train rides for X amount of time, or you can swipe it X amount of times before it stops working. So you got that option. All right, so we did buses, trains, subways are the same. Subways and trains are the same thing. Just trains can go longer distances, but you know what I mean. Then the last one is driving. For me, I have to drive. I don't have a choice. Everything is way too far away for me to not drive. So driving is really simple. It's just everything's on the left instead of the right. If you're from America, if you're from Australia or the UK, nothing's changed. It's just now the signs are in Japanese is all. Most of the signs are the same, so like driving is not hard. It only took me a week. Like the first time I got into the car, I was on the right side of the road by accident, and then I just hurried up and switched over to the left. And then after that first week, I haven't really had trouble doing that. The biggest trouble I have is constantly trying to get in on the left side of my car. The steering wheel's on the right. So if anything, it's just making sure I get in on the correct side whenever I go to drive. But yeah, also when driving, the speeds are a lot different because they go kilometers. But once again, if you're from the places that use kilometers, it's no big change for you. But for us Americans, we do miles, and so it's not exactly the same speed. Most of the speeds in Japan stay slow. Like even on the expressway, you're not really going too fast. So, just take that into account. But yeah, gas is really comparable to the rest of the world. So it's not like you're paying a massive amount more in gas or anything. Now, as far as traveling large distances, if you have access to a vehicle, I suggest driving. Driving is a lot easier. You're offered a lot of freedom. You can take different roads. You don't have to take the toll roads if you don't want to, which there are many toll roads, but the reason why they are toll roads is because it gets you to where you need to go so quick. So you can, example, me going to Tokyo, if I get on the Chuo Expressway, I only pay about 2,000 yen. That's to get on the toll road, drive all the way to Tokyo, get off, and then pay. It's only 2,000 yen one way. That's not that bad. Being that a train ticket for me to come from my area, like Minobu Station, to go to just Machida, like not even Shinjuku, just to go to a place Machida, it runs me about somewhere between 4 to about 5,000 yen per ticket. So that's 4,000 yen that way. That's about $40. Then it's 4,000 to 5,000 back. So another 4,000. It depends on what time of day I'm trying to come back and this, that, and the other. And I'm stuck on the train's time. And usually altogether it takes around 3.5 hours or more, depending on delays, which there aren't that many, but if there's delays, it takes longer. You know, next to if I drive, it's only 2.5 hours, and that's if I'm not going during big traffic times or if there's not an accident. So, you know, you take your pick because you're going to pay either way. It just depends on what makes more sense to you. For me, driving and then getting a parking spot at a very cheap parking garage that me and Leo found, it's cheaper just for me to drive, and then it also offers me the liberty of leaving a little bit later. That way I'm not like stuck to the train's schedule, because the train stopped running at about like midnight, and if you leave too late and you're on a 3-hour train, well then you're just stuck at whatever station you've stopped at, and you know, that's never any fun. And the trains don't run again until about 5, 6 in the morning the next day. So driving's easier. It's the same thing for long distances if you take the Shinkansen. Now the Shinkansen was pretty cool. It's a very nice train. It does go very fast for the long distance you gotta travel. The thing is though, it's expensive. It's not cheap. Just for a buddy of mine to come from where he's at in Toyama to come to Tokyo whenever we would hang out or like have like a friend's weekend or whatever, it would cost him about 10,000 yen, which is about $100 one way, and then another 100 back. Now if he could drive, it would cost him less, kind of like me. So, you know, it all depends on what you want to do. Driving in the city is a massive pain though, so having a car in the city is just not that fun. But like for me personally, since I'm out in the boonies, driving's just fine. And if I got to go long distances, driving's the better way because it costs me less in you know, the long run. That's like I'm going to Kyoto in a couple of days, and I'm going to meet a friend there, and we're going to stay there, and we're going to go visit the deer village, and we're going to she wants to see Osaka, so we're going to go to like Dotonbori so that she can see stuff like that. But I'm going to drive because I could take the Shinkansen, but the Shinkansen last time to Osaka was so expensive, and like it was such a pain because sometimes Google Maps only gives you like a minute for a transfer, so sometimes it's such a cumbersome ordeal. That's why I'm just going to drive this time, and I'm probably going to enjoy it more, and I'm probably just going to do that because the hotel we're staying at has a parking space that I can just rent, and pretty much overall it's going to even out. That's the main thing about this. No matter what you do, you're going to spend around the same amount of money. It's just driving, you may spend a little bit less sometimes. Taking the train may let you spend, like if I'm going to go to Hokkaido, I'm taking the train. I'm not going to drive that far. Hokkaido is at the top of the freaking island, and I'm not the bottom of the island, but I'm like close to the to about mid-south. That's way too, I'll just take the Shinkansen that way. But once again, that's all up to you and your situation. So that's just the transportation one. I hope this helps anybody out. I don't know if it will or not, but just in case, if anybody was wondering about transportation and different things, this was just a little short video for anybody who's looking to come over. So that's it. I'll see you later.